How's it going? Very controversial stuff. Well, is the Republican Party going to divide itself up and to split itself up into two uh, sort of somewhat conservative parties, hoping that one or the other was going to fall and pick one or the other one's choice or something like that? Yeah, I'm getting kind of heated debate, kind of like flack already on my criticism of the Republican Party. I've always supported the Republican Party, and I've always voted Republican, and I've always um, done that for my entire time of being a registered voter and voting. And I believe that what I did was right. Still, to this point, I think who I voted for and what I voted for was the right thing. I do not think it is right to vote for a Democrat, especially whenever there's so much what you'd say from their character, that do as I say, not as I do mentality. So to very much characterize Democrats and the Democrat Party, that's my other opinion, high opinion of them. So I'm looking at things like this is what I want to vote for. I want to vote for keeping my rights that I have already intact. They've got it over here. So if I act up or if I do some other crap, which I shouldn't be doing anyways, I could lose some of my other rights that I have, I guess. So does that make you less of a citizen? If you have worked to keep your integrity and your character intact as far as your rights pertain to it and the law goes or whatever, um, I personally do not think people should ought to be having their rights attacked constantly and just over and over and over again. However, crazy people who think out things like this and do crazy oddball stuff, first off, address where they became crazy in the first place. Don't just go off on a tangent and say, oh, this idiot just came out of nowhere and what's his problem? No, though, I did hear the thing again about the guy who was a shooter at Umpqua, that he didn't have a girlfriend or something like that. And I don't know if that's the truth, if that's just more like propaganda that they're trying crap that they're trying to feed you on that situation. But it sounds like a very petty and pathetic reason, in my opinion, to go and shoot and kill anybody. But there are many pathological and other reasons for crazy villains like that to go and do that to other people. And I would think that they think that they're like the only person on the world or the planet that ever had it bad or ever had anything wrong done to them, and they can't move on. So I understand that, and I would be guilty myself if I went beyond self control of myself, be able to contain thoughts if I have evil thoughts or some against somebody and revenge is on my mind. I have to control myself and contain myself, and I cannot appease or say it's okay to get away with doing dirty things or different crimes when it's not. When all along, all people ever wanted to do was be legitimate, have their families so that their children and whatever offspring and family and people um, have rights or whatever dignity that you give to people and you don't take away from them. And they're able to go about it being honest about it. So I think the welfare system in particular attacks people's ability, and it's something that would be my opinion would be attacked on that. Like I don't have the right to speak or something and say, well, there's a reason why all these people are sucking off of the government teat already. and don't get off. So it's not my fault. It's not your fault. And it sounds highly, highly like it's leads straight to the government, and the government is the perpetrator. In my better opinion, all of it. They own 100% of it up to this point in time, and then not wanting to take responsibility. That's your Democrat Party. Now, on to the Republican Party now. So this Republican Party that I've been voting for, that I've been supporting, making phone calls for, going door to door, having doors slammed in my face that time over George Bush. And I shared my opinion that I approve of George W. Bush, but because of what I was saying, coming from the Republican political party, door to door like that, the guy had a problem with me, big time, and he believed it. And there's a big G word on the way that my opinion of that guy and how other people are acting on Bush, and that is highly gullible. G stands for gullible. You guys are all gullible enough to vote for this guy. 4 years should have been enough time for you all to get your shit together and figure it out and understand exactly the difference between when Republican George Bush was doing through the 2000s and what the difference is, what the Democrat Party, straight up, no way about around that, it's all on them, have been doing in the teens, in the 20 teens. So you don't logically want to come out of this, so you want to remain gullible. Americans want to remain gullible. I'm not gullible enough to buy Paul Ryan's words. And Paul Ryan could possibly, for a moment, whatever, how much he had the time to shine or whatever, not only look like an establishment messenger from the establishment, he could be possibly the most unlucky guy in politics right now at this point, for the simple fact that he let me see his press conference. His flash, all of a sudden, we got to stop everything. Everybody's got to stop what you're doing for this news break, for Paul Ryan to come on here and criticize Donald Trump, and then he's saying that that's not what the Republican Party thinks. And I have only heard people, I wait to hear somebody say they're Republican and they don't agree that Donald Trump at least is on to something from what he said. So to me, in my opinion, again, I'm telling you, in my opinion, I don't like Donald Trump, but I don't dislike him either. I don't have a reason to dislike him, but I do have a reason to like him and to think that he's okay. So I'm not going to go and kiss his sweet butt or anything like that. I'm just going to say that he's giving me a very favorable impression of him right now, in first impressions, you know what I mean, to different people. I think that he is made, as far as saying, directing politics, going back to it and letting me hear how he is at least up to date in what he thinks now, makes a lot of sense. And it is only stuff that I would say, if I had the money and I had the pool and whatever else he does for chains, I'd be saying the same exact thing right now. So there is no way that you can get me to express that I do not favor and support Donald Trump and what he said, and not believe that the Republican Party is coming out and being completely reckless and irresponsible. They're kissing up to this monster that people don't want anymore. So what is truly liberal and what is truly conservative and what's just uh, politics and politician stuff. You know what I mean? It has absolutely nothing to do with people just living in the difference uh, in the qualities of life that they all had. Now, see, now, if all those people, everybody out here in America, all of a sudden became responsible, everybody dove right in and paid their own health insurance, did what they were supposed to do, everybody took care of their family, the handicapped were protected and taken care of, and nothing was wrong with them either. Um, then uh, basically that whole what's a monster with people not really wanting to participate in a positive way out in society. See, like me, I tried to, with a bit of the free time that I have, aside from volunteering, I did that. It went over well. Um, but then I just, I don't know, they had a lot of people that were volunteering in there, so I just kind of backed away. In 2012, I did. So, um, it's it's just, I don't I don't know exactly where they think that they're getting to, but people realize more so that they were right and George Bush is right, and that we have a true enemy out there. And we have to combat them. If our troops are put in that much danger, it was already bad enough as it was when George Bush was in there, a president who truly cared at least about the welfare of the troops, and that um, there was as less casualties as possible, of course, but not not everything is. You're subjected to different kinds of things whenever it comes to war. So, and people don't want war, but I tell you, man, we would be doomed if we did, and doomed if we didn't. So, no matter way around, you can't get out of that. But the Republican Party, with Ryan saying this the other day, not only sounds like they laid down for the establishment, they're attacking the president candidate for the Republican Party. Instead of saying, well, he kind of has a point. So be somebody to step up and tell the truth, for crying out loud, and say that, well, they're not helping us at all. And I don't know if it's because the majority of the Muslims are too scared to let us all know that they really mean to take over the planet or whatever they're trying to do. But they have different Muslims killing other Muslims. So I understand the treachery of what's going on, but it's war. And these Democrats all along couldn't wait until they heard somebody come up like Paul Ryan did the other day, come out of the Republican Party's mouth that the war is over. That there's no more war. We're not combating terrorists as far as a war is goes concerned. Okay, and don't ever let me hear you say that these people were lined up with the Nazis back in World War II, because they do have a sinister hatred for Jews in particular. So, with my understanding, that it only makes sense that they want us all dead. So, um, yeah, I have another uh, idea for a different video that I'm fixing to do. So I'm gonna go with that. I just really wanted to drive that in. This question that I have here. I want people to hear what I have to say a little bit. Try not to bundle it all up. Trying to get out what I all have to say all at once too, and not like stutter or anything, and accomplish that part. Um, and then get this question through to everybody about that. And what about Trump's words? Does Trump not make you think, Trump's a right on guy? Because what have we been, as people who are Republican, who vote Republican, or conservative voting people? I know there's some people out there maybe still that don't want to come down and say it. It's a little hard not to express what side of politics you are on anymore. So that's sacred, but that's already tampered with to the point where there's no way that, because I'm not talking about running a third party. If you had to, if they push Trump out of the way, even though he's in the lead, and somehow they tried to push him out to where he couldn't get the nomination through the Republican Party, and somehow scandalized Donald Trump just because of something he said, his free speech to say what he's thinking. Um, I just want to know, because what I'm saying, including with my point, is that I wouldn't go for a third party that wasn't conservative coming from the Republican Party, just thinking that the Republican Party is now become a bunch of elitist rhinos for some reason. Because I used to hear Paul Ryan all the time talk about how serious he was about the economy and fixing the economy, addressing all these different things. But really, do they want to let Jeb Bush get the nomination? And Jeb Bush, to me, in my opinion, is he's also establishment. But let me explain my opinion on how I feel about him. That he's a little bit like his brother and these other politicians that really they're not classless. They got a lot of class, and I like Jeb Bush as a person. But what he does is he will side. He'll think that he has to pave some kind of a way by making a deal with the Democrats, which isn't completely wrong. But when I seen Marco Rubio do it, it made me bitter, and I was like, oh, but I told him to do it, and I was like, Urgh. I was so upset because it was on immigration. Because I don't know what these idiots are doing, not enforcing the law, doing what they're doing. They're getting illegal people also killed, more so that are dying on the border, I would think. There's a lot of screwed up things that they don't intentionally do, but ends up clam bake because it's not the right thing to do for people, honestly. If they want to come here and be honest and they're willing to work, and that's what it is, you're making them come here illegally, you know. I would say make them come here and make them be honest and legitimate and understand that it's like you wouldn't disrespect your parent unless your parent was kind of putting you down. So anyways, but basically what I'm saying about the character of Jeb Bush, or the Bushes maybe even, is that Democrats are talking all this smack about the Republicans. And I'm getting fed up. I'm like more and more upset by all this stuff that they're saying about the Republicans when it's all bullshit. It's not even true. Um, so just to do it politically, now people are talking all kinds of smack out here in public like it's real, and then you see in your own eyes that for whatever reason, maybe it was by the way that those pukes, pushed us to screw Vietnam over like that instead of leaving them their government in a democracy like we did in South Korea. In other places like that, which we traditionally did after World War II, they're going back like 200 years, 300 years in our past, and they're saying, look at what America did. America did this 200 years ago. So they couldn't possibly be for democracy ever since World War II, and things didn't change, and and things didn't be affected all the way and make people staunch conservatives and think that way over not just communism but also fascism. What happened in World War II made people really, but they're gullible. They're gullible. My my grandfather came from east. I think he came from western. Is where he came from, not the east. He came from the west part. But what they did was his father, um um in family or whatever, put some money together during World War II and sent the man over here. He worked as an indentured servant, and that's how he got his U.S. citizenship established. So when people are coming here and they're abusing the system and they're abusing our laws and things, and then trying to take laws away from us, they're abusing citizens here. They're abusing people that came here in legitimate ways that just makes it seem like such a slap in the face for people to be acting like that, and to appease for the Republican Party to let Paul Ryan on the loose to come out here and talk like that about Trump. My one person I was talking to was telling me that he thought that, I don't know if he's just trying to bullshit me or what, but he was trying to tell me that Paul Ryan was just coming out and saying that to see if the Democrats would back off away from the immigration thing themselves. But I thought it was also a shoe-in, or how you'd say, tied that together with trying to buy people's votes. And I follow that a little bit too. I buy your vote if I was a running politician or something like that. Not just by knowing that I'm a common person, not a politician, but by my words and what I say, and then when I do something, um, I would only hope that I could trust my own self, but that I would do more than what my words would be saying. Say like whatever I'd be bullshit, I'd be like, blah 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 blah, saying that. In the meanwhile, I'd actually be doing way more than what my mouth is actually saying to everybody, and things are getting done, and we're improving the country, and we are not a hateful country. So I don't know where Democrats, gullible Democrat voting people, or people on the fence that are gullible, come from this hateful minded thing. It's almost like a hate kind of spiritual thing or something with them, like they got to get even with America and believe all of this crap, about Vietnam and about all these other places. I tell you the truth, uh, France was stealing the rubber from the Vietnamese people before we went in there, and they would not had asked us to go in there if they were not had their heads at their ass and didn't have to bow out of the thing because they could not handle the perpetration of what was going on. And the people in America got sucked into Vietnam that way and had to show their whatever alliance with France, but they were driving democracy after World War II. So I don't know what these other European socialist progressive pukes were thinking, but we're talking about a different kind of mentality ever since after World War II. So instead of being on the guy Ho Chi Minh's side and just talking to that guy, see, and maybe that's what Kennedy was going to do. Kennedy was maybe going to go talk to the Chinese or talk to somebody, and I wouldn't necessarily believe that he was going to get the himself assassinated by the communists or some other foreign place, more so than maybe somebody in his own ranks or something, or something else, maybe due to the mafia or something here, is because I think he was trying to negotiate something. But then you seen later on, um, Ronald Reagan was a smooth operator and he was a good negotiator, and he talked to these people who up to that point were tired and just wore out of communism. And here we have a guy named Obama. The Republican Party wants to appease to him now, talking the smack to Trump like that, in my opinion. Okay, and here we have Obama is a guy who doesn't give a two craps about how weary you are, how worn out you are, how beat up you are, and all of that from war and whatever else. He doesn't care. He still wants to push us and it and everything off the edge as best that he can. So here we go. We're gonna have America gonna be what now, because Ryan's saying that we're gonna have America be what, 250,000 or 500,000 maybe even strong Muslims who deeply hate us, where they can for surely with the political atmosphere that's going on in this place right now, can totally set up shop, recruit, go out, operate, go in, kill more of our people. You know what I mean? It sounds totally and completely ridiculous. People voting for that are gullible, and the Democrats, people, politicians or whatever, the politician people, I just, I'm like trying to figure out where these people get off. Who, who in the hell are you? Who are you? You are a terrible, terrible person if that's the way you think. And up to this point, you're not fully on board with America being successful. You're not 100%, for to drive America's economy to being great again, not into the ground. So that's basically my point. Is I don't understand what's going on. It sounds really ridiculous and very careless, and I just at this point in time, instead of really being able to, work your own mind around each one of the candidates. Now they've got my brain, and I don't know how many other people out here got their brain just having the wagon circle around your freaking head right now. It's just like, what did he just say? Did you hear what Paul Ryan just said? And again, very unfortunate for him as far as this goes right here, for me to just be walking by and just happen to listen to them, because I don't sit there and watch the news all day. I only get bits of it when I walk by. And when I seen the guy come on, I knew what has happened with him recently in Congress or whatever. So now I'm like kind of like thinking he needs to be replaced. So it'd be good to replace him right away as Speaker of the House, because he's out of control as far as I'm concerned. That is straight up establishment, status quo. I mean, straight up to the T talk as far as I'm concerned, and unbelievable to my ears what I heard. It's crazy.